It's work, sleep, spills the tea. I'm still been on this like Sobe kick, you know? Remember Sobe like back in the day? I feel like no one.
Oh yeah, I
just
remember
went away.
Sobe. I used to buy it at the Rocket Town Cafe from the skate park. I remember.
Yeah, it's like every time I say tea, it just like makes me think of Sobe. But what do you got for me, Wex? What do we got? What's
Oh, I mean, I had a fresh fat Arnold Palmer right before we recorded this, but we're going to go ahead and start off with the latest breaking news coming from WWE. It was just announced a few hours ago. Stephanie McMahon is taking a leave of absence from the company.
Ooh.
To be with her family for an undisclosed amount of time.
I mean, good for her, man. I think that, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw a couple weeks ago, it might have been over a month ago now, where Triple H did that interview with Stephen A. Smith, and like the real emotion there. I think that like maybe something like that happening kind of gives you like a more like a mortality check, you know, because it's like I don't think Stephanie McMahon's really had that. I mean, Vince is Vince, and he's worked hard every day, and he's never, you know what I mean? Like, he's no days off, and he seems invincible, and we feel like he's just going to live forever. So I feel like this one event with Triple H probably put a lot of things into focus for both of them. And, I mean, good for them. I think that spending time with their family is something, I mean, you're never going to get the time back for sure. I mean, your kids are only going to be 6 once or 7 once or, 11 one time. So, yeah, you know what? Hats off to her. Jesse, what do you think?
And I think that at the end of the day, I believe most of what she was doing was sort of outreach for the time being anyway, this last little while. So, I mean, it's not as though she was involved on the day-to-day. It kind of makes sense of all times that now would be a good time to kind of take a step back, take some time for the family. Obviously, they've kind of placed a new regime of sorts in terms of people running it. Like we were talking about, Pritchard, Doot, and, Sean down there.
And all his boys.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's one of those deals where it's time to see how that engine runs with those guys behind the train and just kind of take evaluation of that, you know what I mean? And I know it'll probably fuel speculation of sale rumors, which I still don't buy, but it does give them a little bit more of an accurate perspective, I think, of what they need to tweak and what they need to fix to move the company forward.
I agree.
Yeah, it's cool to see her like get some time off with her family because she's been kind of in the spotlight since the fake Triple H marriage.
98. Yeah.
So I remember that too, going through the drive-through, and he goes, "I do." Like, classic. I mean, how can you forget
here's
that?
The real question. Let's say it's 8 months, 10 months, a year, even whatever. Let's say it's Royal Rumble, and we hear that music pop up. What's the pop like? Is there one?
Oh, yes. Are you kidding me? Massive pop, dude. Man, especially if she just works the Rumble and that's it. Like, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I would love to see that. I mean, anytime we get a chance to watch, I feel like last time she wrestled was like 2015 or 2016, and it was like randomly, and it was against Nikki Bella, or no, it was against, it was Nikki Bella.
Yeah.
And it was really good. Like, I was like,
great match.
It was a really good match. Like, I defy anyone, if you're listening right now, just Google like Stephanie McMahon's last match, and I'm pretty sure it was 4 or 5 years ago. But watch it; it was really good. So yes, if I could get a chance to see her in the Royal Rumble, I would love to see it.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty sick. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the juiciest of the juicy of WWE news since we're on that tip right now.
Please do.
Everyone knows. A long story short, Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out at Monday Night Raw over creative issues, turned in their belts, gave them to Johnny Ace, and since then there's been so many conflicting reports on actually what really happened, but regardless of the details when they come out, but so they walked out. So what do you guys think? Without the true details, just on like, a base level looking at it right here, like what do you think's going on?
Go
what
ahead,
do you think
Jesse.
about the whole situation?
I feel like it's one of those situations where, Naomi really doesn't have much to lose, whereas I would think the perception would be that Sasha Banks does. But you also have to look at how they were presented at WrestleMania. Sasha Banks was presented like a bona fide fucking star at WrestleMania, despite the nature of being in a multi-tag women's championship match. Like,
yeah,
the match also, to be honest, for a popcorn match was not bad.
And no, not at all.
I think a lot of the work that they were putting in and the reason the straps were put on them in the first place is because they're two of the more captivating talent that are currently on the roster without having to even do much, even though Sasha can.
Right.
And I don't the dude in me wants to say it's a work, but at the same time, I don't see why they would work Naomi leaving. I don't think anybody gives a shit about Naomi walking out, quite frankly. And I don't mean that as a slight to Naomi. I just don't think that would have made headlines. It's all about Sasha right now.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I think the work part of it could be the maybe possibly just putting her in the bloodline and putting her on SmackDown with the rest of the boys. But
I could see that.
I don't see the value in that, to be honest with you. It's like I feel like the only people that are going to care about that are marks. Like no one in the actual audience is going to care that the bloodline now all of a sudden has Naomi out with him, because that's all it would be. It's like between Heyman and Roman, the Usos barely get a chance to talk on the mic. How would it even help her to be in the bloodline? Like I just don't. It makes no sense creatively. I get that they're like, because in real life they're family, it makes sense, but it's like, I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't think it's a work. I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. To me, it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like people are like, well, maybe this will teach Vince a lesson to write better. It's like, for what though? Like this is like at the end of the day, it's still his company, man. Like it's whatever he wants to do. If he wants you to go out there and cluck like a chicken and fart on each other's faces, then that's what you should do for your job. I mean, like,
not as though we haven't seen that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, look, if you don't want to do that and you want to stand up for yourself and you feel like you've invested so much time into your character, then walk. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really feel like there has to be a bad guy here, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. I don't think the WWE should have necessarily catered to their demands, and then maybe they should have just said like change your attitude or whatever, because I know we've seen that narrative out there. And it's like, okay, I don't have any problem with them saying that. They're writing the checks. It's a television show. It's a television show. So I have no problem with them being like, no, you're going to do what we want you to do. But then at the same time, they're like, you know what? Nope. It represents more than just a role. It's a character that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. So I have to protect it at some point. I get both sides, and I genuinely don't think anyone is necessarily wrong here.
One thing that I read was that they had legitimate concerns and gripe about two of the members of the match, like physically not wanting to be in the ring with them, and that wasn't catered to or adhered to.
I heard that was actually that part that came out you're talking about, like, was just some bullshit, because they apparently, I heard that they wanted to work a tag team title program with them or something instead. And that was the whole thing, is that, and they even, I think both of them, someone came out and said that, like, no, they've never had a problem with working with either of those two people. And I think the fact that it's getting so much like extra scrutiny and coverage from WWE is because Sasha has done this before, where she wasn't happy with her creative and just said fuck this and kind of walked off. But just like you said, Daniel, I mean, if you want to stand up for yourself, you don't have to do it. I mean,
sure,
like, fuck it, like, do what you want to do. Plenty of other wrestlers over the years, and the first one I can remember them publicly criticizing is Stone Cold when he walked out in like 2003. They're like, he took his bag and went home, just like they did. They tried to bury them on commentary about it, which I get. It's your company, you have the right to do that, but it is kind of lame. But
several guys, I mean, like, that was just because of our generation. Like in the 80s, that would happen all the time.
Dude, look at
like,
Jeff fucking
all the time.
Did it twice.
Yeah. I mean, just like, I think they're just getting more scrutiny just because, I don't know, Sasha has that history, and like you said, it's more of a Sasha Banks thing than a Naomi. Like, I don't think, like, Naomi has so much, like you said, family up in higher positions in WWE. I think she's going to be fine. And honestly, Sasha Banks doesn't need WWE at this point.
No.
I think she's a big enough star on her own. She can go wrestle for any other promotion all over the world.
I mean, they're not going to release her, though.
Yeah, of course they're not, because they understand her value.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this all shakes out. I mean, I support their decision to walk out if they're not happy with just like a JR always says, cash and creative.
Yeah.
If cash or creative isn't right, then they're going to be unhappy. And I guess they're not unhappy with the fucking creative. So let's just see how this shakes out. I want to see if, maybe things improve or they'll get the boot or what happens. But anyways, I support their decision, but also support WWE's decision to be like, well, we're going to write our TV how the fuck we want to write it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at with it.
Well,
what else we got on the docket, Wex?
We're not going to go into the juiciest part next, so we'll just go into some kind of disappointing news for WWE. The big Clash at the Castle pay-per-view, the big UK pay-per-view, is experiencing poor ticket sales. And apparently it's because the ticket prices are extremely high, and the locals are just like, fuck this, it's too expensive, we can't afford it, so just not selling out like they thought it would.
That's crazy. That's mind-blowing to me.
Well, it's always a better business strategy to start high and work down than it is to go the other way around, because you can't go the other way around.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I mean, they were for one seating at Mania at some point. Like, it's not, I think at this point in time, they're still trying to grasp, like, what is our exact control fiscally over the live market?
Right.
It's a hard thing to know right now because it's been so long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
totally agree.
I mean, you at least got to like the common fan is most likely in like the lower class, not not to talk shit or anything. Like we know, just like the poor people like wrestling, so you need to be able to cater to the poor people. I mean, I was a poor people, and I'm still sort of a poor people, but I can afford a little bit of a wrestling ticket here or there.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that too. But I mean, if it's egregious, it's egregious, and that's on them. But I do agree with kind of Jesse. It's like, I mean, you got a little time. You got a little time anyway, so you might as well just start high and come down if you can, especially if you need to make that money. I don't think they do though, which is a little weird. But I mean, that show's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen in the UK, whether it's at that venue or not. It's gonna happen because that's what Vince wants to happen, so that's what will happen. But yeah,
I'm sure the production value match. It's going to end up being a good show. So I mean, it'll probably all work out for them in the end.
They always say too that the highest priced tickets usually are the ones that go first, and then the lowest priced tickets are second, and the middle tier tickets are always last. So I would be curious to know how many of the higher dollar tickets have gone when we're talking about poor sales. Because if those are gone, then nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, because you pretty much make your money back on those like floor seats.
Yeah.
When you get your fucking exclusive special folding chair with the graphic on it, which I've always wanted one of those. I've never been able to afford to sit in one of those seats, but it'd be pretty fucking cool to get one of those.
Guess what I have?
You have one?
I have the last ever WWF pay-per-view one, the Judgment Day in Nashville. That was
Judgment Day 2002?
I have it.
That's coming up soon on the docket, I think, maybe, possibly.
No, we've already skipped it because we had to skip it because me and the Cage of Cast had already done it. And then like our first year. Because we were both there at the same time too.
Yeah, I have a friend who had a disposable camera, and he literally took all 24 pictures for Stone Cold's entrance.
Wow.
He just went. It was Stone Cold. I mean, what can you say?
Sometimes you just gotta shoot your wad, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's keep the news moving. We're gonna go ahead and kind of travel into the Impact Indie territory, and for indie news, one of the biggest fucking stories this week. Everyone saw the video, I'm sure. The fan headbutting Joe Black and him just fanning him up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was just being, doing heel shit, walking through the crowd. He popped the, flipped the guy's hat off. Which, how many times have you seen that at an indie show? Countless. I mean, that's a classic heel move. And this big dumbass motherfucker tries to headbutt a dude that looks like he's made of pure fucking muscle, and he gets fanned.
Yeah,
he gets fanned multiple times, and I'm honestly surprised like the locker room didn't clear out and whoop this motherfucker's ass. Because if this would have been like, I don't know, just like 10 years ago, like they would have had everyone had a no shame and whooping.
5 years ago.
I mean, just with social media, people just don't want to go as hard. But I mean, Joe Black did not care. He fanned him up. He didn't knock him out, but the dude was very unsteady on his feet. He definitely caught a few dummies.
To be fair to the idiot, I mean, he got some clean shots in too. That headbutt was pretty stiff. To be honest,
the headbutt was great, but I mean, that did not help his cause.
No, it didn't help his cause. Although, like, I mean, so here's the thing. Comicbook.com reported this too, and so that's more of like a mainstream vibe than as opposed to like a dirt sheet. And it is like in that article, the description of the article, it's like it does say that like, Black put his hands on him first. And it's like if there is a lawsuit or something, that guy might win. I mean, and that's
bullshit.
That
Don't
could
come
be
to a fucking wrestling show if you can't take a heel touch in your hat.
I agree, but that's an unspoken rule. You know what I'm saying? Like in the law of the United States, if I put my hands on you, you can retaliate against me in self-defense. Like,
and knowing modern day fucking assholes, he probably is gonna sue him.
Yeah,
like
I mean.
Who does that at a dude? This guy shouldn't be fucking allowed at wrestling shows after this. I mean,
I agree.
Sue's a wrestler. Like if you didn't act like you started that shit back in the day, you would have took your ass whooping, went home, and probably came back to the next show next week and not started shit.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Maybe even brought your gear.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they should have did him like that dude that ran up on Dave Chappelle. He should have got stomped out real quick, dipped out the back, but the boys didn't step up. I don't know. Looked like a dude, he goes by Logan Cruel now, which he used to go by another name, who no-showed a few shows that me and Jesse were working. Logan Creed, I want to say his name is. Looks like he was holding Joe Black back, which kind of pissed me off. And he already has a shitty reputation with me by being a hoe and skipping out on local shows. So Fuck you, buddy.
He's a hoe.
Fuck you, buddy.
You heard it here
You don't
first.
hold the boy.
Next
You don't
off
hold.
is
You don't
the
hold.
Logan Creed.
You don't
He's
hold
a-
about Logan Creed. Yeah, use a hoe, Logan Creed.
Use
Garlow.
a hoe.
Use a hoe. And you know who's not a hoe? Former WWE Tag Team Champions, Authors of Pain, and they just started a new promotion called World Entertainment Series, and it actually looks pretty fucking cool. And they also got themselves a new name and their old manager back. They got Paul Ellering, and they are now called the Legion of Pain.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a
Yes,
lot.
that's
I like that a
right
lot.
there.
I like that a lot.
And their new promotion looks pretty sick. It has a lot of like former WWE and big names such as like Biff Busick, Mojo Rawley, Lana, and Nia Jax are actually going to be fighting for the women's championship, which is hilarious. Kalisto, Fandango, Braun Strowman, he's going to be in the main event for the heavyweight title against some former UFC fighter.
Alistair Overeem, dude. Not just some former dude. Alistair Overeem's like, to me that's he was a massive name just like.
Is he from the UK?
I'm not sure exactly where
this
he's
show's
from.
in the UK because that would make sense because they're trying to like big promote it. I mean, honestly, it's pretty sick, and they got Jonathan Coachman and Aiden English on commentary.
Nice.
I can get behind
This
that
seems
team.
like a pretty cool promotion.
Wait, this
It
show's
seems
in the
like-
UK?
Yeah, it's gonna be like a UK
Oh,
thing.
dude.
And
they're
or I don't
just
know
what
if
if they
just the
just
show
turn-
is gonna be UK or if that's just gonna be the one off. But dude, it's like it's like what Control Your Narrative wanted to be, like this other cool little promotion. But this is like looks like they're actually going in the right direction. It's like the opposite of what CYM was trying to do.
If WES can end up being the AEW of the UK, that will be awesome. And I feel like that would be a good niche. Like that's all you'd have to do, just do it in a different country. Like I mean, because right now when I hear like Freddie Prinze Jr. is going to start a promotion, it's like there's too many. All right, now there's too many. Like there's too
In
many.
America,
I
yeah, but
literally can't
UK,
keep
that's a
up. There's too
perfect
many.
market because even if it's something that I
Perfect.
can't get
It's
on
perfect.
weekly TV, I would still go and try to check the matches out.
And WWE somehow, some way, is still running NXT UK over there. It still has a weekly show. So like to me, it's almost like you can go over there, start running, and then all of a sudden, especially from the UK perspective, you put then whenever NXT UK dies, which it has to at some point. I mean, Jesus, it's just so whenever that dies, then it's like, oh well,
Lots of
along came
talent
this
that could
company.
flood
Now
in and help the
WWE's not even
promotion.
here anymore. You know, like that's smart. That's really good business. We need to keep our eye on that. That's going to be awesome. We should try to watch that show if we can.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it, especially Coachman and Aiden English now going by his real name Matthew Reinwald. Like
When is that
he was-
show? Do you have that in your notes? Sorry.
I don't have the exact date down here, but it's coming up soon. And they have some cool little. Check out Twitter. They have like little promos like accept the invitation and like
Ooh, I
lots
like
of cool people are on board with this thing. It's literally like I said, it's the opposite. It's like what Control Your Narrative wanted to do, but I'm already more excited for this, and they haven't even had a show yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited about. Well, I mean, for obvious other reasons, but yeah.
Man, so this week in AEW, this week's episode of Dynamite was another banger. The ratings went up. They got at least like 100,000 more viewers than they had last week, and we got a little one-off. It wasn't an official signing, but Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. John Morrison, who debuted as Johnny Elite, had a match against Samoa Joe in the Owen Hart tournament, and it was pretty cool. I mean, there's a few little botches here or there, but he's all, his style, he's going to have a few little here and there, but it was pretty fucking sick and pretty cool to see him as a little one-off.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited to see it. I haven't had a chance to actually watch the show yet because we record this on a Thursday, and so like it just happened yesterday, and I've worked today, and I haven't been able to check it out. But I am excited to see it. I've seen all the spoilers on the internet, and it does look awesome. I saw a few little clips. I'm excited to see it. I really hope he does end up signing. I think he's a good guy that would fit there. They'd find a way to keep him in the loop without making him oversaturated, and he would also be able to keep doing his indie spots that I know he wants to keep doing. I think AEW is a good spot.
And Mexico, and he works with AAA, and they have
exactly.
that relationship anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Also, when Omega comes back, I could see that being a pretty decent program that didn't have to involve a title.
Agreed.
Wow, that could be a banger or two.
Agreed. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the update on Omega, but it does look like there's not a return in sight, like that at all. Like I don't think that he's in a rush. Like he's still healing from surgeries, but according to people closest to him or whatever, he's not in any rush. He's been at a few Rampage and Dynamite tapings lately, producing
I heard
some
he's
of the
been
women's
producing
matches.
some of the women's matches.
Yeah. But he's like, there are no plans in like on the books for him right now. And
Good.
I don't
He
think
deserves a break.
I agree.
Goddamn.
I agree. Honestly, I don't. I say take the year off and come back at their next massive pay-per-view next year. You know, like I think that would be the smartest. I mean, come back at All Out. I think that's your best bet, but that's just me.
Well, speaking of taking breaks, somebody who's been off TV for a long time in AEW, the reason has finally been revealed. Miro, who we haven't seen since he had that hamstring injury, turns out he's been filming a TV show that debuted just yesterday on CBS called East New York, and he's playing some like Russian or Eastern European guy, but that's what he's been doing. So we think that AEW, like, people have been like, oh, they're keeping him off TV. Nah, he's actually out there working, doing some other shit. And he's out of the country right now, and I guess since the show is premiered, that he'll probably be making his way back soon. But hey, maybe he'll appear at the WES show with his wife.
You never know.
That's coming up, and he's out of the country. That could be possible.
That show is on June 4th, apparently, is their debut.
June 4th. Okay, which is not very far away, like 2 to 3 weeks.
Coming up.
So maybe he'll hang out there until after that show, then make his way back to TV.
I don't care if he does or not. I feel like at what point are we going to say with Miro, like, oh, it's the potential. It's like the guy has pretty good matches, but he doesn't really have memorable storylines, man. He's just not
Except
a very
for John
good
Cena in the Tank.
I mean, honestly, and this might ruffle some feathers too, but to me, it's Keith Lee again. Like, that's why I think this whole Keith Lee Swerve thing works for him, because I don't think that dude he can't talk. He can't carry a storyline. He's a great wrestler.
I think he can talk great, but they just haven't had any great storylines. I love his cadence, and I love the way he delivers promos, but I agree. Him and Swerve as a tag team, going to be sick. The triple threat set up for Double or Nothing with them and Team Taz and Jurassic Express.
For my money, I don't think he's a good promo. I think Swerve's a great promo. I do think Keith Lee is a good wrestler, but it's like, I don't know. People talk about Keith Lee like he needs to be the world champion, and that I personally don't ever see him as a world champion ever. And same thing with Miro. They're good for what they are, but I feel like there's a ceiling on both of them, and they don't. I don't think they have that kind of connection all the way around. Like, I mean, I guess Keith Lee does have more of a connection with the fans than Miro does, but I just don't think he can really carry a story really well. Again, I think he's a great wrestler bell to bell, but I just don't think it's enough.
We all got our own opinions on it. How do you feel about that, Jesse?
I mean, I think Keith Lee, I agree with the cadence thing. I do enjoy the way that he speaks. I just don't know that it's a one-note situation. He doesn't change how he addresses anyone or anything in any given scenario, and really neither does Miro, if you think about it. I mean, even I was enjoying the stuff they did with the Redeemer situation. I liked those promos a lot, but it wasn't a storyline. That was just a way to present that character in a different fashion, and it worked for a month. But I think that's all it had in it.
Same thing as Lance Archer to me. Same thing.
Yeah,
he approaches every single challenge the same way. There's no difference.
I understand the Lance Archer thing. Like, I feel like he's that dude who is like only ever gonna be upper mid card. Like, he's not quite like world champion material. Nope. And he's been around for a long fucking time, and don't you understand? I mean, it makes sense why he has not had a world title this whole fucking run, because he's good though. He's a good character, good wrestler, but he's better off at being a tag team with Davey Boy Smith Jr. I said Davey. British Bulldog Jr., Killer Elite Squad, that's what he needs to go back to. That's his best shit, to be honest.
Oh, I would agree with that for sure.
I would love to see them reunite in AEW or New Japan or Impact or any fucking promotion, because why not?
Yeah, and he's just taking up AEW TV time right now.
Doug Williams is too old. The Commonwealth connection ain't working.
Yep.
Let's get the Killer Elite Squad back together. Maybe some Minoru Suzuki in there too, some Suzuki Goon. I'd love to see something like that. Have you noticed how hard MJF has been shooting lately outside of AEW?
It's a work.
And that's the thing. That's what I was going to ask you guys. I think it's a fucking work because he's just such a good fucking character and a good heel. And then he's so good. Like, anybody who thinks it's like, oh, he's so, dude, MJF is a fucking genius.
I mean, it's the psychology of capitalizing on Cody making the jump that no one thought Cody would make. At the end of the day, that introduced this idea in everybody's head, and now everyone, MJF teased the bidding war thing before, and everybody's like, whatever, that's just storyline shit. But now everybody's taking it seriously because we've seen it happen with a higher echelon performer from AEW. I mean, it's smart.
He knows how to fucking milk the right shit, push the right buttons. He's fucking
Yeah,
great.
I mean, I think it's, and to me too, it's like, listen, especially for AEW super fans, what is the worst thing on earth to them?
WWE marks, right?
WWE in general.
Totally. Yeah.
So the best thing that you can do to get them more heat is just talk and talk and talk about them as much as you possibly can. I mean, it's what I mean.
While you're openly feuding with a fucking WWE guy for the last several weeks, months,
Yeah.
whatever, like, you know, him and CM Punk and that whole deal, it engenders itself naturally to this.
Yeah, and not only that too. Like, I mean, I think it's a work, but I will say this: I think it's a work. I think MJF is in AEW for a very long time, as long as they stay growing. If something changes, and then because he's still under contract for like 3 more years, so like if something changes and more people start going back to WWE and more positive vibes start shifting in that direction, and if tragically, you know, AEW becomes what TNA was, then maybe he does leave in 3 years. But I would assume if things stay on track, if AEW continues to be popular, I think MJF will stay for another contract. But I will say that MJF will wrestle in the WWE before his career is over. No doubt about it.
I kind of agree with everything you said, mostly. And I think that he's going to be with AEW for a long time because my prediction, CM Punk's going to beat Adam Cole for the world title. I think that's going to happen at Double or Nothing. And then MJF is going to beat CM Punk. It's for the world title, and he'll be a world champ. I feel like that's where they're going to go.
You mean Adam
what?
Page? You mean CM
No,
Punk's
I mean, Punk's going to beat Page.
Yeah. You said Adam Cole.
Punk's going to be the champion for a while, and then MJF is going to dethrone Punk.
Okay.
Because think about it.
I think Cole gets it before MJF, but yeah.
You think Cole gets it before MJF?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's not in the picture now, but I think that Punk is trying to play the heel right now, but it's really a babyface match. And once Punk wins, they're gonna hug and they're both gonna stay baby faces, and none of it's gonna matter. So I think Punk and Adam Cole is the money right there. I really don't think they're putting the title on MJF until it's nuclear. I mean, yeah. I don't think that, because why? Like, he's so over as it is. Like, there's no use your
and
belt.
He hasn't even had a TNT title run yet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? Yeah. Oh yeah. He's definitely gonna have the TNT title before that. Like, he will win all. He might even have a tag run with Shawn Spears. I'm not sure, or maybe somebody else that they bring into Pinnacle.
And it's already confirmed by Tony Khan. They have trios titles made. They just haven't introduced them yet.
That's
so imagine like a little team with like him, Shawn Spears, and like whatever third guy they add. Like that could be heat and extra stuff to build his character.
I wouldn't have minded it so much prior to the ROH acquisition, but now we're getting into that WWE territory of you get a belt, you get a belt, you get a belt, and like
especially I get what you're saying. On a Ring of Honor show, like
wait until Ring of Honor. Wait till Ring of Honor gets like it's more of its own show. And then it won't be as bad. But right now,
why are we still doing Dark and Elevation? Like, who's addicted to just that show? Like,
they even had a Ring of Honor women's world title defense on Dark this week.
Yeah, so why don't you just make Dark Ring
and
of
a pure
Honor?
Title defense? Wheeler Yuta versus Josh Woods.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You already have this, and you already have this regular thing that you do in Orlando, right? I mean, it's the same area that isn't it the Impact Zone? Isn't it like
it is the Impact Zone? It is.
Yeah, 100%. So it's like and
it's WCW Saturday
Ring
night.
Of Honor. Like, it's that simple.
I mean, it's not as though they couldn't find the fucking way to get a streaming deal that made sense to do just Ring of Honor. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's like there's every possibility in the world that they can do that and not even just have it be a YouTube show.
I feel like it's on the way. They're just waiting to introduce it. I'm sure they've been working on it. We just got to be a little patient.
We'll see. I hope so. I hope you're right.
All right. So, before we wind down here on the news, I'm going to get to the juiciest story that I think is the juiciest story for many reasons. So it was announced recently that StarCast 5 is going to be happening here in Nashville, Tennessee, SummerSlam weekend. And also that weekend is the Build Ric Flair's final match. This is like his third retirement match.
Not only that, it is a Jim Crockett Promotions show.
Jim Crockett Promotions, and it's going to be a full show. Like, it's not just going to be a Ric Flair match. They've already announced it's going to be a full stack card, main event, Ric Flair's last match. This motherfucker is 73 years old, and I'm going to go pay money to see him possibly die in the ring.
1,000%.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the show itself is ticketed separately from Starcast, despite the fact the show itself is ticketed separately from Starcast, despite the fact that the JCP thing is all like Conrad and Jarrett and Bischoff and a bunch of people that they're the ones who bought the licensing for the old music. They built the stage, like they have the renderings and stuff that are all JCP style. Like it's gonna be rad.
Yeah, and honestly, SummerSlam weekend, I really don't even care to go to SummerSlam. I just want to go to Starcast and see Ric Flair.
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest. I'll watch. I'll be in Nashville. Clearly, I live here. Go party, have fun, deal with all the shit. But
and again, over the past 2 weeks, I've been talking about how I think that
AEW even, but not I really actually going to SummerSlam. If I get
no
a free ticket, but
if I get a pass,
Southern Underground Pro East Side Bowl on Friday. By the way,
exactly, dude. Yeah, I'd rather.
If I get a pass, I'm going to SummerSlam.
The stuff that comes with it is almost more fun than the actual show.
Oh, 1,000. To me, listen, and we love the sub guys. GCW, they're awesome. That's awesome. For me personally, as a fan, Starcast is what I will attend. I will go to Starcast.
Me too. I'm going to go to Starcast.
Since I'm going to be there anyway, I'll probably spend the extra money and go to the Ric Flair show. As far as SummerSlam goes, listen, I'm liking where WWE is headed with the product. I'm sure it's going to be a killer show, but honestly, unless I'm getting passes and I'm going to sit essentially close to ringside, there's no way I'm going to go. I'm not going to be able to see any of it. I'm sure we're going to have to cover it on the show. And there's no chance I'm going to that show, sitting through it that long, and then going back, I'm watching it again on Peacock or whatever just to cover
Hell
it.
No.
0% chance. I'd rather just go to Starcast, have a really good time, and then watch SummerSlam on my couch and drink beer.
100%, dude.
Cheaper.
100%. I'm sure we'll see Mr. 100% at Starcast, but 100%, baby.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited that it's in Nashville too. I think it's good for the city, and I think that it's gonna bring even more of a good shine to Nashville, which is great. It's always a good thing. And I'm excited to see what they do with the set, and I'm excited for SummerSlam. But again, unless I get a free ticket, which honestly it's 50-50 that I might. But unless I get a free ticket, I'm not going.
Yeah, but free tickets, you know how it goes. Titans games, random shit. The free tickets are always floating around here or there from somebody.
Yeah. Especially for those of us who have lived here, if not all, the vast majority of our life.
Yeah, and we all know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, there's so many musicians in the live prop world, the sound, the audio. It's not all their guys that build the stage and shit. A lot of those people are subcontracted. So, it's very likely that I will get a pass, but if I don't, honestly, I would really rather just watch it on my couch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and there's going to be that NXT panel at Starcast too with Johnny Gargano. There's lots of good stuff going on.
Dude, yeah, is Starcast 2 days or is it just the 1 day?
2 days, I think. Three.
It's 3?
Yeah, I think it starts on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and then there's all the stuff on Saturday. I don't know what they'll do during the actual show, but there is stuff on Saturday, and then Sunday there's stuff the day of leading up to the JCP show.